back, everyone. Here to make a mouth-watering French onion dip is the CEO of A2 Milk Company. Welcome back, our friend Blake Waltrip.
Thank you very much. Good to be here. Thank you.
Joining Cameron at the counter, Paigey, Shirley, and Maria. They're all excited
with
to
their mini
dive
dips.
into
Yes,
the
yes,
that's right.
So this is one of your very favorite family recipes. Why is that?
It is. Well, look, we love to have a dip when we're at holidays or when we're at football games, especially watching football games. And what we found was not everybody could enjoy my favorite French onion dip. So because they had a problem with dairy, and that's a big part of that. And so we developed this recipe so everybody, in fact, my family, has an issue with drinking traditional milk. And they can consume A2 milk. And so we made this recipe so everybody can enjoy it.
And it's so good.
It really is. It's super
really
tasty, and I'm
so
also
good.
just so fascinated by things
By the
that you're doing at
A2 milk.
Yeah.
It's something else. So let's get started on the recipe, and we'll ask you more a little bit about
First thing
the
you got to do with this recipe is you're making your own buttermilk. So you take A2 whole milk, you put in some cream of tartar, and then you'll mix that up.
So cream of tartar and A2 milk.
And you're gonna stir this for a while. It's gonna take about 15 minutes or so. You're gonna give it to make that. But what we've done here to make things simpler for ourselves is we've made our own buttermilk. So this is our A2 buttermilk.
Okay.
And then we start with mayonnaise.
Okay.
And then we're gonna whisk in the buttermilk.
All right.
All right.
Like that.
Just like that, you can see it's gotten, all right. There we go. So we start whisking that in, and if I don't make a mess, we'll all be okay.
So why is this called A2 milk?
A2 milk is, there's two kinds of proteins in cows. Maybe you can help me, Debbie. We'll put in the caramelized onions here. There's two kinds of proteins in cows, A1 proteins and A2. And what we found is that A1 proteins create an issue for some people, where A2, it makes all the difference. If you take a cow that only produces the A2 protein, all of a sudden people can digest milk that couldn't digest it before. Wow. And this is something that they discovered about 18 years ago in New Zealand, and it's continued to grow. When you think about the fact that you've got millions of people in the U.S. alone that have some sort of dairy intolerance. This is Dijon mustard. Okay. Okay. And then a little red wine vinegar we're going to put in here.
Okay. So are there certain cows that only have A2 and certain cows that only have A1?
There are about 30% of cows naturally only produce the A2 protein. What we've done is figured out how to find those cows, and then we work with them to create a clean supply chain, so we only deliver an A2 milk to consumers.
I mean, it's so fascinating.
Where so many people would think that perhaps they are lactose intolerant, the truth is they're A1 intolerant.
Well, yeah, many people are going to find out that, in fact, their intolerance is more driven by the A1 protein versus lactose. And so for some people, this really helps alleviate their digestive issues with dairy.
Oh my God.
It's amazing.
It's fascinating.
I mean, it really is. There's so many questions, so little time. But I'll ask you this. The A2 milk itself also has no additives. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. This is 100% natural milk. It's got no hormones, no antibiotics, no anything. This is just natural, wholesome milk. And that's the beauty. A lot of times people bring it in because someone has a milk intolerance, and you realize this is just real milk, natural milk.
It's just real milk from a different type of cow, and it's incredibly easy on the digestion.
Absolutely. So what you're going to do with this is, after you've made it, you're going to put it in, let it set for a couple hours so that it firms up a little bit in the fridge.
Look at that.
And look what we have done.
I've never made my own French onion dip without a packet. I got to be honest. This is way
so
better.
good and so tasty. I mean, this is
What's beautiful. And if you want it to be low carb, you can use it with vegetables. For those who are not as worried about that, you can use multigrain crackers or chips or whatever. And it makes a fantastic fan favorite.
That is delicious.
Yeah, it really is.
And I know that my belly will be fine.
Exactly.
Yes, it will.
Is there anything in particular that the A2 protein is or about it that makes it easier to digest? Is there something?
Well, there's two kinds of proteins, the A1 protein, and actually, just to get a little scientific, the amino acid chain, it looks exactly the same in these two, except for one point in the A1 chain. And in that one point, it throws off a sort of an opiate-like peptide that creates some gut inflammation.
Okay.
So is that how you figure out which cow is A2 or A1? You can't just look at them and say, oh, that's an A2 and that's an A1.
You know,
Well, he's got the brown spot behind his ear.
Yeah, exactly.
The one that's brown is the A2.
It's a simple genetic test. So we have to go and actually test. We take a pluck of the hair follicle out of the cow. We take that, and then we can actually,
From
test
the hair.
that. And then you have to keep them separate. they're special cows, so they get a special tag and they're separate, and then we only milk those cows.
So because if they were to procreate.
If you mix it, well, that's what our whole dairy supply chain is. It's a mix of A1 and A2 proteins.
Right.
So you got to keep the A2s with A2s and the A1s with A1s. Wow,
Absolutely.
this is so fascinating.
It is fascinating, and I love the science behind it too. I'm big on that. Thank you so much for all this insight.
Well,
and
thanks
making
for
this
having
great
me.
onion dip.
Thank you, Blake.
Yeah.
Perfect for the holidays.
Delicious.
Yeah,
right? To
there we
serve
go.
at your,
Really good.
gatherings.
Enjoy.
Absolutely.